here. It is indeed an honor for me to be here. Thanks to the organizing committee of Ahmed University TEDx team for having me here. I would like to start my speech with a small question for all of you, a yes or no, a binary question. How many of you here have dreams and aspirations? Alright, I think most of you. We all have dreams and aspirations to do something big in life, but often we let our fears come into that way, right? I think all of you would be able to relate that. We think about what will others think. We doubt our own capabilities, and often we let failures inhibit that mindset. But what if I told you that taking a leap of faith would be the next big thing towards achieving what you have thought of, or at least coming to closer to the dream that you have thought of? Today, I am Priyank, the founder of setbacks, and I am not here to talk about my business, but give you some insights from my journey, how taking a leap of faith has changed the course for me. Well, before I rattle off, what were the processes that I took, or how did, I found entrepreneurship, it would be good if I could just share a brief journey about myself. So, 3 years back, I completed my MBA from one of the renowned institutes of the country. I had always dreamt of taking up a finance job. I was majoring in finance. I thought maybe I should get into the world of finance, become a CFO one day. And when I completed my MBA, I got placed into one of the top global banks, and I was indeed very elated. I thought I had achieved what I dreamt of. However, 3 years down the line, I am wearing a hat of an entrepreneur. I had quit my job, and today recently got featured in the Shark Tank as well, as you had seen in the clip. So what transpired in the last 3 years that essentially changed from taking a corporate journey to the world of entrepreneurship? The secret is, most of the processes, or most of the successes, or most of the paths that you take in life is often discovery-led. And that brings me to the first point today, that success is discovery-led. What do I mean by discovery-led? It means if you are open to new possibilities in life, open to new ideas, and think of experimenting a little with your life, you can often discover some paths or ways that you never thought you would have achieved. A case in point, myself. Well, as I mentioned at the bottom of the screen, that I did not choose entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship found me. And how this happened was, so back in COVID, when I was working from home, I was all settled and comfortable in my corporate journey. I was thinking I was doing all good. And my co-founder, who was previously working on one of his startups, he reached out to me over a call. When I was doing my MBA, he was apparently mentoring under me in one of the finance projects. So, as COVID would have, I was working from home. He called me one of the nights, and we were discussing on his previous startup. So, what happened as part of that was, constantly we started, having conversations around the startups, and that intrigued me to the world of entrepreneurship. Luck would have it that we were both part of one of the food distribution drives in my hometown, Lucknow, and there we came up with this idea of soup, a healthy soup brand that is missing in the country, and apparently that led me to the world of entrepreneurship. So the crux of the point is, had I not been open to that opportunity, or at least hearing that idea at the first onset, I wouldn't have treaded this path. So my whole advice here to all of you is, just be open. If you want to learn a new skill, let's say you want to learn a new language today, download the application, at least take that first step, and you never know that you would be known for something that you never even thought of, or perhaps you could come closer to your dream. So that's my first point. Success is often discovery-led. You never know which path are you going to take, and often it's very good to not have a plan in place. Experiment with ideas, and things will fall in place for yourself. A case in point here, I would also like to give you an example that I've read recently on LinkedIn. It was a story of how Shah Rukh Khan came to be known as King of Romance. I mean, you would be shocked to know that before doing DDLJ, Shah Rukh Khan wanted to be known as, an action hero because he had done some great movies like Dar, Anjuman, which portrayed him as a good action hero, and he was critically acclaimed for those roles as well. But when the director Aditya Chopra reached out to him and said that why don't you do this, DDLJ, where you'll be portrayed as a king of romance, he was really hesitant. However, after months of convincing, he finally decided to do this movie, and today, as we all know Shah Rukh as the king of romance, because he took that step into that uncharted territory, he discovered himself, and as we all know today, that has defined Shah Rukh Khan what he is today. So, you never know which path can discovery lead you to. Often, if I come from, I'm known today as an entrepreneur, so most of the big companies that you see today, right, they weren't even what they had visualized when they had started. Their mission statements were completely different from what they are today. Similarly, in startups, what we call pivoting, we often pivot our business models, come to something new, realize what were the setbacks, and constantly improve to even come up with the versions which is very different from what we were at the start. So, to my point here, chase that discovery and life path will follow you. Well, I think it would be very unjust if I do not talk about the obstacles to that leap of faith. And we all would agree that the biggest obstacle to that leap of faith is fear. The fear of the unknown, the fear of the failures, or the fears about what will my peers, what will my family, what will the world say to me. And I had those fears in me as well. And all entrepreneurs that I've spoken to had those fears naturally. So the fear of failure, the fear of unknown, the fear of judgment from others. So what were my strategies essentially to combat those fears? And I think you should be able to relate to it. And if not, I'm happy to take up questions at the end as well. So a couple of strategies that helped me, conquer these battles. The first one being, reframe your negative thoughts. Obviously, I would be, doing all injustice if I say that I was very positive, I had all plans in place. But the one thing that really helped me was refining my negative thoughts. I had a lot of times had these thoughts, what if my startup didn't work? What if I wasted my years? Wastage is again a state of mind, but what if I wasted my years? These were the negative thoughts. And how did I come back and refine it into positive? Was by saying that obviously this is a new territory for me, how many things I'm learning, how many networks I'm building. So instead of focusing on all the negative aspects of the elements, you can refine and redefine your negative thoughts and look at all the positive elements out there. The second, there are lot of mentorship opportunities available. So when we had started, let me be very frank, it was an uncharted territory for me, a very new domain for me, right? I was not from a food background. So at that point in time, we had hired a mentor, roped in a mentor, given him equity, and that mentor helped us essentially to streamline the operations and develop that food technology in place. So to my point here, there are a lot of mentorship opportunities available. There are a lot of founders who are eager to mentor students, and there are a lot of support opportunities available. So just having a question, raising a LinkedIn message, in mails, to just seek support, you ask for it, and there is a support opportunity available. Third, I always thought of two things whenever a lot of times I went to these conferences. In the introductions, there were a lot of achievements that was talked about myself, and I feel really bio. But there were two options I had. Either I can choose to be the prisoner of the past, or I could have chosen to be the architect of the future. And that is the choice each one of you today have. To be the architect of your future, or just be the prisoner of your past. Naturally, that's your call. You can use your past to redefine your future. You can use your core competencies, but you want to be just comfortable, or just stay in that zone where you've just found your comfort zone, or whether you want to recreate yourself and be the architect of your future. Are you with me till till here, or is it too heavy? With me? Thank you. The fourth point, perhaps this is one of the, it comes from one of my mentors, who's Mr. Vikas Divyakirti, as many of you would know, is a very popular IAS coach. So he said, whenever you're stuck in life, or you don't know what you want to achieve, what you can do is, and this is a very powerful technique, write an obituary for yourself, which is, you were born on this date, you are dying on this date, and what are the next 4 statements, 3 to 4 statements that you would like to be known after you have left the world. Make that obituary your vision statement, and you would naturally see you're getting little closer to what you're thought of growing or your vision. So writing that obituary is a very powerful technique that I learned from him, and that motivates me to a great extent. So these are some of the strategies, main strategies that I use. Obviously there are many more that I can unravel during my Q&As. Third, there are obstacles, you have dreams, but what about preparing for that journey towards that leap of faith? So often we neglect that preparation phase because, number one, we are too passionate and we do not see passion from the lens of reality. For example, somebody who wants to be a national level cricketer or an international cricketer might just think about being a cricketer but not take any actions behind to achieve that. So we are not focused on the journey but the end result. So the importance of preparation for me particularly was I took calculated risk. Everyone has a different risk appetite. I personally took calculated risk, and I will let you know how. Step 1. When I started this company, I and my co-founder, we spent first 2 months into secondary research, which is reading all the research papers, market insights, what exactly does the market talk about, whether there is an acceptance for these products or not. Next 5 months, we spent into market testing, where we launched a prototype of our business, tested in some particular domains, and thought what was the response and what were the shortcomings to it, whether there was an acceptance to it or not. Had there not been acceptance, we would have rolled back and thought of a new idea, or perhaps would have been retrenched to our journey back. But we took that calculated risk, did our primary research, the secondary research, market testing. Once we got that validation in place, that was when we started, the company, registered the company. And to a great extent, on my personal side as well, I mean, you must have seen my Shark Tank episode. So I was moonlighting as well for a couple of times, for a couple of periods of months, wherein I was working for my job during the day and using the salary as an expense to fund my startups during the night. So that is how, I took calculated risk. The second, which is a very underrated trait, is development of skills. We often tend to forget, we are too buoyed by the end result, achieving the end result, that we, overlook the importance of skills. So because food was a very new domain for me, I spent a lot of time just sitting with renowned chefs, nutritionists, food dietitians, food technologists, and just understand what was the inherent skills required for this sector. And third, managing your finances, because obviously, as Sir mentioned at the start, entrepreneurship is also about making profits, generating scales, and how you're going to grow. So managing your finances, how you're going to sustain, what scale will you decide? I think Sanjay was also talking about the scale, the awareness. So there is a lot of finances involved around it. So managing your finances is very important to that scale. These were the 3 things I particularly did and helped me in my journey. There are obviously, depends on domain to domain, risk appetite of the individual that can redefine your path. And fourth, obviously, it's very glamorous when we hear stories of celebrated entrepreneurs in the world building unicorns, right? Getting featured in all the newspapers, even for our Shark Tank entrepreneurs, getting featured on national television. But let me tell you, most journeys that we have faced are not devoid of setbacks. We have faced a fair share of failures in our way. We have tried to, rebuild our paths and then stayed resilient to the journey. So these are the 2 paths. Taking that leap of faith is not a defined way of getting success, but at least it's coming little closer to your dreams, or having at least tried. As the popular saying goes, try and fail, but don't fail to try. And then building resilience. So initially, when we had started, it was very difficult to retain the talents. The head chef they were offered higher salaries, retaining the nutritionist with us. Safeguarding our formulations in place. They were initial challenges. Then, naturally, through our way, we found a way how can we build a resilient supply chain. What can we modify in our operations to help, the supply chain elements of it. How can we create a brand that has a unique flavor irrespective of the geographies. So these were some critical challenges we faced initially. We experimented a little. In the face of failures, we were a little resilient, and that helped me or my company get to a little modest height. So all I would like to say here is taking that leap of faith can be a little disastrous or can be a little thought-provoking, at least when you think about the failures. But what if that opens a world of opportunities to you? What if you discover something that you hadn't even dreamt of? So today, my friends, I encourage all of you here to take that leap of faith, whether professionally, whether personally, and unlock a world full of opportunities for yourself, or at least face the new you. As it is said, the journey of 1,000 miles must begin with that one step. And that one step is definitely a leap of faith. Thank you everyone for having me here.